Today on Brilliance Business TV, we have Natalie Heilling. Natalie is a life vision coach and energy practitioner. Stay tuned. Welcome to Brilliance Business TV, conversations with leading experts in business. I am your host, Mark Stephen Pooler. We have an incredible guest today, Natalie Heilling, life vision coach. I'm really looking forward to an interesting conversation with Natalie today. We are streaming live on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube. We're on the E360 TV network. We're also on Business Innovators Radio Network. We're also on USA Global Radio and Television Network. And we're also streaming to MSP News Global.com. I'm really looking forward to bringing my guest on today. Let's bring in the incredible Natalie Heilling. Natalie, welcome to Brilliance Business TV.
Thank you, and thank you for having me.
The pleasure's all mine. Let's get started with the first question. Okay. What inspired you to collaborate on Voices of Women with the incredible Brenda Dempsey, who is a friend of mine? And how does your story contribute to the broader message of female leadership within the anthology?
First of all, Brenda is an absolutely amazing woman. I love her. And I'd previously done another book with Brenda. So when she asked me if I wanted to be a part of this, I was absolutely honoured, because it's an anthology. It's a community of like-minded individuals, which were like 22 very powerful and inspirational women. And for me, it felt like the perfect platform to share my story, which I think resonates with many women, actually. And I know this because subsequently becoming a life coach, I'm speaking to so many women that just kind of find me out of nowhere who are going through similar challenges in their life. So basically for me, a little bit about my story is that I guess when we need a total reset in life, when life pushes us to our breaking point, that was really my story. I'd reached a deep stage of burnout. A female leader I've been for many years. I've run my own business for 20 years, and then I've worked in corporates leading teams prior to that. So I was juggling my business and my family and raising my two beautiful daughters. But I was also dealing with personal challenges from quite a toxic relationship. And I kind of reached a point where, and I think it touches on it in my chapter, I was not, the thought of boarding a flight for a family holiday, I was not able to do. So I actually had to cancel that family holiday because I was suffering with complex PTSD. So I'd kind of reached this point in life where I realized that if I wanted to change, that I needed to completely overhaul. It needed a complete overhaul in every area. And that meant actually a career shift. I still do executive recruitment, but I'm also a life coach and energy healer. I relocated from the UK to Barbados, and that meant letting go of the person that I was in order to become the person that I wanted to be. So it was a real identity shift and a transformation from the inside out. And as from being part of the book and from sharing that particular story in the book, I wanted to shine a light on mental health in our lives in general, but also in the workplace, because I feel it's a taboo to mention it. Even myself, it required strength to mention that, because we don't want to, people, I think society tells us that we need to be, behave in a certain way or not share certain parts of our lives. And I think we need to normalize that, because if we keep continuing on, we wear a mask that everything is fine until one day we do reach breaking point. So I think we need to normalize that discussion about, mental health and, our emotions and being able to show that in the workplace and be vulnerable with our bosses, with our leaders, which is actually incidentally how I work with my teams. So the message that I wanted to share was that true female leadership often requires us to shed old versions of ourselves if we want to step into something entirely new and keep growing and being authentic to who we are. And that requires vulnerability, which it definitely did for me, stepping into areas that I hadn't done before, and, you know, worrying what people would think about that, worrying about judgment, but actually trusting your intuition as a leader is super important, because that enables you to lead from a place of authenticity. And through sharing my story, my hope is that other women who might be in a similar place will, you know, believe that they have the power and the strength. They can see that they can rewrite their own story, no matter where they're starting from.
I resonate with what you're saying, Natalie, because I've gone from one identity to another identity, but it's not an easy process, and it's ongoing as well. It's something you have to choose daily. I went through a stage of really intrusive thoughts, trauma, visions, horrible visions, because I started believing the thoughts, panicking. So I went into a massive state of fear, and it was like all my stuff from the past come up all at once. And so I took myself on a journey over the last 2-3 years to completely shift my identity. And I've used things like NLP, hypnosis, rapid transformational therapy, EMDR therapy. I had to do so much. I even worked with a neuroscientist to be able to control my mind a lot better. And it's like letting go of your old self and your old identity. It does take time as well, because it's like a mourning process of letting go of that old identity and old self.
Grief,
and then you get the ego fighting you, because the ego doesn't want to die. So it's like your old self doesn't want to die. So you're putting in all these new positive beliefs at who you are now. And then it's like the ego is bringing up all the opposite, because it's just fighting. And I'm on the other side of it now, but I still get like these thoughts. But I've learned to just be a compassionate observer now, and I just observe them like clouds and don't believe them and let them go really quickly. But I think sometimes we strive for perfection, and my neuroscientist coach said to me, Mark, you'll never get rid of negative thoughts. It's just what we get as human beings. It's about how you react to them and respond to them. So now, no matter how horrible a thought is, I'll just look at it and I'll go, no, not my story. Don't believe that. If I get a little bit triggered, I'll give myself love, and I'll step back and I'll give comfort to little Mark, rather than seeing myself as the thought. And I'll just say, it's okay to feel afraid, Mark. I love you. I'm not leaving you. You're safe. So that you step back from the fear and don't think you are it, and you're comforting that little version of yourself. But it's definitely a process, Natalie, and it takes facing some of your biggest fears as well. It really does. You've shared that you reached a breaking point of burnout and mental emotional exhaustion endured from a toxic relationship. How did this experience inspire you to overhaul your life and create the life vision? And how do you now guide others to do the same in their own lives?
Yeah, so I love this question, because I think when you reach breaking point, it's going to be one of the most difficult points of anyone's life if they're there, but it's also a transformative experience. Sometimes people change their life, you know, before they hit the brick wall, which is great. As a coach, lots of people will reach a certain point, which is why they need a coach. And when you hit that point, it's one of the most transformative experiences, which it was for me. So I actually look at that point in life with gratitude. I'm not the same person, but I believe I'm a better person. I'm a better parent. I'm a better leader. So I've actually gained so much from it. And it inspired me to change my life, because it actually made me ill. It made me physically ill. And emotionally ill, and it impacted me in so many ways across all areas of life. And that's why I do life vision coaching, because when you're impacted in one area, so if it's your personal life or your relationship, it then infiltrates into many other areas, and obviously your health underpins everything. So I was literally stuck, and that was the inspiration that I needed. when you are in that situation and when you're suffering with complex PTSD, well, for me personally, I'm sure others will probably resonate. I didn't recognize myself anymore, and life was not fulfilling. And I guess when you were talking about the identity shift, you would have gone through that point because you're one person, but you want to be somebody else. You want your life to be different. You're quite often unfulfilled. I felt stuck. And I was disconnected from who I was, which meant I was procrastinating. I wasn't clear on my path forward. And, I wanted to be happy and just have like what I used to say is like a normal life. And so when you hit rock bottom, I find when you get, when you're in that place, you ask big questions. And for me, I kind of started to reconnect with who I wanted to be, who I really wanted to be, and what kind of life I wanted to have. And that's when I started to look at all the different areas, which for me are 12. And I also was looking at, different, like online courses and coaches. I know you mentioned a coach as well. I'm a big believer in having them for myself to continually grow. I was living in survival mode, I would say, which is most of what humanity do. And it's kind of like a feeling of overwhelm. And I realized I needed, there was a better way. Life wasn't supposed to be that way. So that's when I embarked on looking at the different areas, having awareness, looking at the different areas of my life, which would be, my career, my relationships, even down to where I was living. I then started to sort of dare to dream bigger because I always wanted to relocate out of the UK. And so I moved from the UK to Barbados, as I mentioned. And what I realized was, and you've talked about it there, because it's not an overnight process, transformation and doing that. I say it in like a, couple of sentences for our talk today. But when you're going through that transformation, and when I'm working with my clients, for example, it's not about tweaking things on the surface. You do really need to go inward to look at release what's not serving you, but to look at the stories that you're telling yourself based on the trauma and life events and, various different things, even back from childhood,
yes.
Which are holding you back. And incidentally, so even from my childhood, which is the other book that I did with Brenda as well, Lessons Life Has Taught Me, I suffered extreme racial abuse as a child. And it was really from looking at that then led me to being a people pleaser and seeking validation, that then led me on to, into other situations that didn't serve me in life. So really, from me hitting rock bottom, from me, evaluating all areas of my life, and from doing that overhaul personally and living and, learning all the tools that I do today, it's the foundation that I use as my work as a life vision coach and an energy healer, because I believe the two go hand in hand. Incidentally, energy healing, that the term may not resonate with everyone. Sometimes I call it like an energy reset, or, I'm an energy coach. Either it's all the same. Corporate individuals may resonate with an energy reset, more spiritual ones with energy healing. But I guess it's all the same thing. And I guide my clients to look at every aspect of their life, which are 12, from their career to their, their character, their emotions, because obviously those are instrumental when you're looking to do the identity shift. And all of those things are needed then, to look at your parenting, your social life, your finances, and so on. And then, ultimately looking at the life, which is what I call life vision, ultimately that you truly desire. So I would just say, for anyone listening to this who feels stuck, definitely you have the power to rewrite your own story. I work with lots of people who are unfulfilled and at the point of not being clear on how to move forward. And it quite often means, like you've just said there, you have to let go of everything that's familiar, which is a lot of fear. But when you get to the other side, it's really worth it. It's about trusting that you can rebuild your life from a place of who you really are, which is obviously authenticity. Lots of people live their lives not being truly happy. And actually, that's the number one emotion that people want to feel in life. It's, such a word that we hear every day, but not many people are feeling it, unfortunately. So I help people build that life vision clearly, and build and live a life that feels aligned with who they truly are, where they are happy and fulfilled.
We have so many similarities, like a lot of similarities, Natalie. And I do breath work like
Yeah, I do
quite a
too.
lot. I do breath work every
Yeah,
day. I mean, 2 or 3 times a week, I'll do a 45-minute breath work because you just feel amazing after it. But most days, I do like a heart, brain, and coherence breath work, which is really good because it brings your heart and brain into coherence, so you feel
yeah,
great after it. And I've started again doing tray exercises as well. It's like a trauma release exercise where you shake on the floor and it gets rid of all old trauma. They're really,
yeah,
really powerful as well. But yeah, it is going inwards and facing all of that fear and releasing it and connecting with your higher self and recognizing the ego that it's just trying to protect you, but you don't have to believe it, and to believe more in your higher self and those higher goals, higher dreams, and your authentic self.
yeah.
Energy healing plays a big role in your approach. How does energy healing complement life coaching, and how do you use it to help clients overcome blocks and live their best lives?
Well, I guess for me, I actually had, therapy or counselling, or whatever you might call that, when I was going through my personal situation, and it was great. And I love my therapist, and it got me to a certain point of understanding, I guess, the theory of the trauma, and to help me build boundaries to a certain extent. But I still was living with the debilitating effects of the complex PTSD. Believe it or not, I would say 5 years ago, I had no, apart from maybe LinkedIn for my recruiting, I was not on Instagram. I used to do like photos outward, not of myself. And I was not very good at speaking. I would stutter a lot. In fact, I was just a complete hermit, really. I detracted, apart from in my work setting, which I did wear a mask and I managed to get through for quite some time. It was just difficult. And what I realized after starting to come across various teachers and sort of masters in their field with different modalities, all using energy, incidentally, which I didn't quite realize at the time. I realized, and my belief is that trauma gets stuck in the body. And I've worked with some incredible teachers who were masters in their field. I'm a quantum flow practitioner and a master level energy healer. So even though, getting to that point and that level, I mean, many instances along there, I was still at a loss regarding practical steps needed to transform my life. So you can do a healing session and you can feel, great, but it's then using the benefits of that session to be able to then enact change in your life. So, and one thing I would say is if you've spent, like I did, a number of years in a traumatic situation, change doesn't happen overnight with one session. And I really try to convey that in my social posts, because I'm really aware of some of the things and the statements out there that some teachers make around, abundance, and you can have this and you can have that through this energy healing. Change doesn't happen overnight. It isn't a quick fix. But for me, it did enable me to release the trauma from my body and transform. It required consistent effort, though, and daily action to embody the change that I wanted to see and that I've seen now in my life. And the way that works is that after each session, our vibration actually raises. So, and when our vibration raises, it puts us in a better position to think and act in alignment with our desires and who we want to become. And you're probably aware, Mark, because we seem very similar. Our emotions and our decisions and our actions, all of those things carry an energetic charge. And low vibrational emotions like fear, anger, guilt, shame, they will attract more of the same. And higher vibrational emotions such as love, joy, creativity, they will attract more of the same and therefore bring out positive change. And as our vibration rises, we become more attuned back to our intuition, enabling us to make our decisions aligned with where we want to go. So as I mentioned to you, I felt very disconnected. I'd forgotten who I was. By releasing that trauma, by releasing those blockages, I actually, I became more connected to my intuition. And if something's not in alignment with my life vision, with my plan, with who I am, if it doesn't feel right, I'm just out. I'm not there. I don't hover around or procrastinate now. You become more in tune with who you are. And so therefore you're able to obviously make that change quicker. So the energy work is more of a catalyst to help you achieve change, I guess, is a way of summarizing that. So what I do in my programs is I weave in the energy work, whether that's a reset or a healing, however you want to call it, to help clients release blockages, release what's holding them back, elevate their vibration, and then foster empowerment, which then helps them to more easily achieve their goals. So it's for me, it's about also maintaining a free-flowing energy system. And, so I often say to clients, energy healing will work, but if you stay in a situation, it could even be a career, if you're staying in a situation or a relationship which doesn't serve you and you're having these sessions, obviously energy is around us every day, even commuting, going into the supermarket, we're around people's energy all of the time. If we're stepping back into recurring situations that don't serve us, or if we're simply commuting, we still need to learn how to clear, protect and manage our energy field. So I utilize energy with traditional coaching tools to help clients kind of work towards their goals. It's a holistic process of mind, energy and emotions. Effectively.
I love it. And I agree everything that you're saying. We're coming up to the last couple of minutes now, Natalie. So I want to ask you, tell us about your signature program, Life Vision Mastery. What transformation can clients expect when they go through this journey with you? And what other services do you provide?
Yeah, so Life Vision Mastery, I mentioned 12 segments, like the careers, the relationships, your social life, parenting, finances, all of those things. It's actually being 12 segments. It can be a year-long program for those who want it, but I do have shorter versions for those who might know the specific segments that they want to focus on. But effectively, in terms of the transformation, I work with clients who might start off feeling unfulfilled in their life. They're not happy, they're disconnected, they're not sure why. Quite often they're unclear on what, the path is forward, or if they have an idea, they're procrastinating, they're scared on taking those next steps because in their mind they're telling themselves stories, what are holding them back. So with regards to what I do, as I mentioned, I work with the energy aspect of things as well, like an energy coach. I help them get to the root cause of what might be causing the blocks. And then we work together to release limiting beliefs and emotions that might be holding them back, and then help them reconnect with their intuition, get more clear on their path to be able to obviously move forward. So by the end of the program, people are more connected to their inner peace, joy, happiness, and they will leave the program having a clear path forward on what their life vision is in all areas of life, or if it's one or two segments, could be the case as well. But not only are they clear on their life path, they have clear goals and actionable steps in order to how to get there, but they can use their energy as a catalyst in order to help them get there quicker. So it's releasing the blocks, which enables them to release the stories, the limiting beliefs, limiting behavior patterns. And when we become more empowered, it's then enabling us to make better decisions and actually take actionable steps. So it's weaving those things in throughout. So in terms of what I do, as I mentioned, I do the 12-month mastery, but I also do shorter programs and also pay-as-you-go coaching as well. So one-off sessions where that may work. And it really depends on what the client need is. And then I also focus purely on energy work with clients who are looking to do that and take a deep dive into that area as well.
Really, really transformational stuff. And I know people can connect with you on your website at theenergygame.co. That's theenergygame.co. Who do you want to connect with you, Natalie?
So I would say professional women, they may or may not be leaders, but anyone who may resonate with my story first and foremost, because that was my main goal. So anyone who might be in a challenging relationship, I can definitely help with energy aspects of that. But also professional women who are looking to connect with their intuition and creativity to kind of own their value. So anyone who's also considering stepping into leadership. And the best way to reach me, as you've mentioned, is you can contact me on theenergygame.co or through LinkedIn.
Natalie, I have thoroughly enjoyed having a conversation with you. We have so many similarities, and congratulations on doing all of that inner work on yourself. That's really inspirational, because it does take courage and inner strength to go on that journey. A lot of people don't want to do it, and it's so important if you want to live life more freely, happily, and joyful, and really create the life that you desire. So thank you so much for being my guest. I thoroughly enjoyed having a conversation with you.
Thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure.
The pleasure's been all mine. Thank you everyone for joining us for Brilliance Business TV, conversations with leading experts in business. Until next time, bye for now.